Rose didn't even realize when it started. 1 second. She was standing in the kitchen, fingers loosely wrapped around a warm mug, trying to finish just one more thing before finally sitting down. And the next, her vision shifted. Not fully, just slightly at first, like the room tilted, just a little too far to the left. She blinked. Once, twice. Okay, no, I'm fine. Her grip tightened around the mug. The warmth suddenly felt too hot. Or maybe her hands were just weaker than they should have been. Her knees didn't feel steady at all. She tried to take a step forward, and her foot didn't land where she thought it would. It dragged, just slightly, but enough. Enough for her balance to break. Wait. That was all she managed. One word. Soft. Confused. Then, her fingers gave out. The mug slipped. It didn't fall fast. It dropped slowly. Almost like time stretched just to watch it happen. And when it hit the floor, crack. The sound was sharp. Too loud. Too final. Ceramic shattered across the tiles. Pieces scattering in every direction. Rose flinched at the sound, but her body didn't follow, because she wasn't standing anymore. Her legs folded under her. No control. No warning. Just gone. Her shoulder hit the edge of the counter on the way down. And then, the floor. Hard, cold, unforgiving. For a second, everything went quiet. Not peaceful quiet. The kind of quiet that feels wrong. Like something just broke that shouldn't have. And then, Mom? A small voice. From the hallway. Footsteps. Fast. Closer. Mom. Another voice now. Higher, sharper, scared. Rose tried to respond. She really did. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. Her chest tightened. Air didn't move the way it should. Her breath came in short. Uneven pulls, like her body forgot how to do something so simple, so basic. Her fingers twitched against the floor. Just barely. A faint sound escaped her throat. Not a word. Just something weak, something fading. The footsteps were right next to her now. 2 small shadows dropped to the floor beside her. Mom, wake up. Hands touched her shoulders, shaking, too fast, too desperate. Mom, please, look at me. Rose tried again. She forced everything she had into it. Her eyes opened halfway. Blurred. Shapes, not faces. Light, too bright. Sound, too far away. She saw them. Her girls. But not clearly, not enough. Her chest rose, then stalled. For a split second, nothing. No breath, no movement. Just stillness. Mom. No, no, no. Wake up. Hazel's voice cracked first. Not loud. Not yet. Just strained. Like she was trying to hold something together that was already slipping. Iris dropped beside Rose's legs, her hands hovering. Not sure where to touch. What to do. Is she breathing? Her words came out uneven. Broken. Hazel leaned closer, her small hands pressing against Rose's shoulder again. Mom, please. You're scaring me. She shook her harder this time. Too hard. But she didn't notice, didn't care, because Rose's head rolled slightly to the side and stayed there, loose, unresponsive. Hazel? Iris's voice shrank, like the room suddenly got too big for her. I don't think she can hear us. Hazel froze, just for a second, her hands still gripping Rose's arm, but not moving anymore. No, she can hear us. She always hears us. She leaned closer, almost pressing her face to Rose's. Mom, it's me, it's Hazel, okay? You're okay, just open your eyes. Nothing, no reaction, no shift, just that same heavy stillness pressing against the room. Iris backed up slightly. Her breathing picked up, fast, too fast. Her eyes darted toward the broken mug. The spilled liquid, the pieces scattered across the floor. Then back to Rose. something's wrong. That was it. That one sentence. Soft, but it landed harder than anything else. Hazel swallowed. Her throat tightened. Her eyes flickered. Searching, thinking, trying to remember something, anything. And then it hit her, suddenly, like a switch flipping. The number. She whispered it first, almost like she didn't want to say it out loud. The emergency number, Mom said. Iris looked up immediately. What number? Hazel stood up too fast, nearly slipping on the wet tile. She said, if something ever happens, we should call. She stopped, just for a second. Her face changed. Not confusion, not fear, something deeper. Conflict. Him. Iris's eyes widened. Dad? The word hung there, heavy, uncomfortable, like it didn't belong in this house anymore. Hazel didn't answer right away. She just stared at Rose, still on the floor, still not moving, her chest barely rising, barely falling, if at all. Hazel's hands clenched into fists. We don't have a choice. Her voice came out quieter now, but firmer, like something inside her had already decided. Iris hesitated. You think he'll come? Hazel didn't look at her. She just nodded once. Small, certain. He has to. Hazel didn't waste another second. She turned and ran, bare feet slipping slightly against the tile. Heart pounding so loud it almost drowned everything else out. The hallway felt longer than usual. Too long. Like the distance stretched just to slow her down. Phone, where is it? Her voice was low, rushed, almost like she was talking to herself just to stay focused. She reached the small table near the wall. The phone was there, right where it always was. But her hands, they weren't steady anymore. She grabbed it too fast, almost dropped it. Okay. Her fingers hovered over the screen. For a second, she froze. The contact was still there, saved exactly the way it had always been. Dad. Hazel stared at it, her chest rising, falling, uneven, like pressing that name meant more than just making a call, like it meant opening something that had been closed for a long time. Behind her, Hazel. She's not waking up. Iris's voice shattered the silence. That was it. No more hesitation. Hazel tapped the screen. The phone rang. Once, twice. Each ring felt longer than it should. He wasn't picking up. Her grip tightened. Come on, please. Her voice dropped to almost nothing. Then, click. A voice. Calm, distant. Hello? Hazel's breath caught. For a split second, no words came out. Just air. Just panic sitting in her chest with nowhere to go. Dad? Her voice cracked on the word. Not loud, but enough. Enough for everything behind it to be heard. There was a pause on the other end. Not long, but noticeable. Hazel? His tone shifted. Softer now. Alert. Something in it. Changed. Hazel swallowed hard. Tried to speak again, but the words got stuck. I don't. She shook her head, even though he couldn't see it. Her grip tightened around the phone. Tears blurred her vision. Mom. She fell, and she's not moving, and I tried to wake her up, but she won't wake up, and I don't know what to do. The words rushed out. Fast, messy, breaking over each other. Behind her, Iris's voice echoed faintly. Tell him to come. Tell him now. Hazel squeezed her eyes shut. Dad, please. That was it. Everything else fell away. All the distance, all the silence between them, gone in that moment. Please come. Silence. Not empty silence. Heavy silence. The kind that means something just hit hard. On the other end, nothing. No immediate response. No reassurance. Just stillness. And then a breath. Sharp. Controlled. Like someone trying to hold everything together in 1 second. I'm coming. Ray didn't move. Not immediately. The phone was still pressed to his ear. But his body, it just stopped. Everything around him kept going. Voices in the background. distant chatter, a glass set down somewhere nearby, but none of it reached him. "Dad?" Hazel's voice echoed faintly through the phone. Small, fragile, waiting. Ray blinked once. Slow, like his brain was trying to catch up with what he just heard. She fell. She's not waking up. The words replayed, over and over, not loud, but sharp, too sharp to ignore. His jaw tightened. His grip on the phone shifted slightly. Not loose, not tight, just controlled. "Stay with her." His voice came out low, measured, but something underneath it was breaking through. "Don't move her. Just stay right there, okay?" He didn't wait for an answer, didn't ask another question, because he already knew this wasn't something small. This wasn't something you wait on. He pulled the phone away from his ear, then brought it back quickly. "I'm on my way." A pause, short but heavy, like there was something else he almost said, something he didn't allow himself to finish. Then, the call ended. Ray stood there for 1 second longer, just one. His chest rose, held, then released. Slow. "No." The word slipped out under his breath. Quiet, but firm, like a decision, like denial fighting reality. And losing, he turned, fast. The chair behind him scraped sharply against the floor as he pushed it back. People nearby looked up, confused, watching, but he didn't acknowledge any of it, didn't explain, didn't slow down. His steps were quick now, precise, focused. He grabbed his keys without looking, already moving toward the door. One of the men near him spoke. "Mr. Ray, the meeting." "I said later." He didn't raise his voice, didn't need to. Something in it made the room fall silent anyway. He was already halfway out. The door opened, then slammed shut behind him. Outside, the air hit different, colder, sharper, real. Ray stopped for half a second beside his car, hand on the handle, breathing. Once, twice. "She's not waking up." Hazel's voice echoed again, and this time, it landed deeper. His jaw clenched, tighter. "Wait." The word came out before he could stop it, barely audible, not directed at anyone, just something slipping through. Then, he got in, the engine roared to life, and just like that, he was gone. Now, pause for a second, because what you just saw, that moment right there, it changes everything. Have you ever trusted someone so deeply that even after they walked away, even after the silence, the distance, the pride, you still kept their name saved? Just in case? Just in case something went wrong. Just in case life hit harder than you could handle alone. Because that's the part people don't talk about. It's easy to say I'm done, easy to close a door, but when everything falls apart, when the person you've been holding everything together for suddenly can't even breathe on their own, who do you call? Who do you trust? When trust is already broken. And here's the real question. What would you do if the one person you promised yourself you would never reach out to again was the only person who could save everything? Would you still call them? Or would you let pride, silence, history decide for you? Yeah, it's not as simple as it sounds. And before we go any further, I need you to do something real quick. If you believe that love doesn't just disappear, that sometimes, no matter how far people go, something still pulls them back, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps push stories like this out, more than you think. And in the comments, just type one word, stay, because what you're about to see, it's not just about a woman who collapsed. It's about choices, regret, and what someone does when they finally get a second chance they never expected. A few hours earlier, the house had been quiet, not silent. Just the kind of quiet that comes after a long day finally starts settling down. The twins were in the living room, their voices soft, distracted, moving between laughter and little arguments that didn't last long enough to matter. And, in the kitchen, Rose stood alone, one hand resting against the counter, the other holding on to a stack of unopened mail she hadn't even looked at yet. Bills, reminders, things that needed attention, things she didn't have the energy for. She exhaled slowly, not dramatic, not loud, just enough to release some of the weight sitting in her chest. Her shoulders felt heavy, not from anything physical, just everything. Work had stretched longer than it should have, deadlines stacked on top of each other, clients calling back to back, and still, she came home, cooked, cleaned, made sure the girls were okay, like she always did. No complaints, no breaks, because stopping meant thinking, and thinking meant feeling, and she didn't have time for that. Her fingers pressed lightly into the edge of the counter, grounding herself. "I just need a minute." The words slipped out quietly, almost like she was asking permission from no one. She glanced toward the living room. The girls were fine, safe, laughing again. That was enough. That was always enough. So she stayed standing, even though her legs felt off, not painful, just tired in a way that didn't feel normal. Her body had been warning her for a while now. Small things, easy to ignore. A headache that stayed longer than it should. Moments where her vision dimmed for a second, then came back. That strange tightness in her chest she kept brushing off as stress. She noticed all of it. She just didn't stop, because stopping meant admitting something wasn't right. And Rose didn't allow herself that. "You're fine," she said it under her breath, more firm this time, like she needed to believe it. Her grip on the counter tightened slightly, just enough to steady herself. Then she reached for the mug beside her. Warm, comforting, familiar. She lifted it slowly, took a small sip, closed her eyes for a second. Just one. Trying to gather herself before moving again. It started the moment she opened her eyes again. At first, it was barely noticeable. The kitchen didn't look wrong, just slightly off, like something shifted without permission. Rose blinked, once, slow, trying to reset whatever that feeling was, but it didn't go away. The edges of the room softened, not completely blurred, just enough to make everything feel unstable. She straightened slightly, adjusted her stance. "Okay," a quiet whisper, more to herself than anything else. Her fingers tightened around the mug again, but this time, it didn't feel steady. The warmth in her hand felt distant, like it wasn't registering the way it should. Her breathing changed, not fast, not yet, just uneven. She tried to take a step forward, just one, and that's when it hit harder. The floor didn't feel solid anymore. Her foot landed, but her body didn't follow correctly. A slight delay, a disconnect. Her stomach dropped, her chest tightened, and suddenly, the room tilted, not gently, not slowly, sharp, disorienting. "No." The word came out instinctively, barely audible. Her free hand reached out, grabbing for the counter again, but her coordination was already slipping. Her vision blurred further, light stretching, shapes bending, everything just slightly out of place. Her heart started to pick up now, faster, louder, panic creeping in where control used to be. No, not now. This time it came out clearer, still soft, but urgent, because she felt it. Something was wrong, not tired, not stress, something deeper. Her fingers tightened harder around the mug, too hard, her knuckles whitening as she tried to anchor herself. But her strength, it wasn't holding. Her knees weakened, not gradually, suddenly, like something inside her just gave out. Her breath hitched, sharp, then uneven, and for the first time, real fear settled in. Rose tried to steady herself. Just one more second. That's all she needed. Her fingers stretched toward the counter again, but this time, they didn't land where she expected. They brushed the edge, missed, and slipped past it completely. Wait. The word barely formed. Her balance was already gone. Her body tilted forward first, then sideways, like it couldn't decide how to fall. The mug in her hand trembled, then slipped. Her grip broke completely. It fell, slow at first, then faster, until it hit the floor with a sharp crack that echoed through the house. But Rose didn't even react to the sound, because her legs, they weren't holding her anymore. They folded, instant, uncontrolled. Her shoulder clipped the side of the counter on the way down. Not enough to stop her, just enough to turn the fall into something worse. Her body hit the floor hard. The impact knocked the air out of her chest. A quiet, broken release. Then nothing, no breath, no immediate movement, just stillness. Her arm landed awkwardly beneath her. Fingers curled slightly, unmoving. Her head turned to the side, hair falling across part of her face. Her eyes, half open, but unfocused, not seeing, not reacting. For a second, the entire house felt like it paused with her, like everything held its breath, waiting. Rose tried to inhale, her chest lifted slightly, then stalled. Air didn't come in the way it should. Her body didn't respond the way it used to. Her fingers twitched once, small, barely noticeable. A faint sound escaped her throat, weak, uncertain, like her body was trying to hold on to something it couldn't fully reach anymore. Her vision, what little she could still process, faded further, edges dissolving, light dimming, everything pulling away from her, inch by inch. "Mom?" Hazel's voice came from the hallway, closer than before. There was a pause, just a second, like her brain needed time to understand what she was seeing. Then, "Mom," the tone changed instantly. Sharp, fear, cutting straight through it. Footsteps rushed in. Fast, uneven, almost tripping over themselves as both girls ran into the kitchen. Hazel stopped first, right at the edge of the mess. Her eyes locked on Rose. On the floor, not moving. The broken mug scattered around her. "No." The word slipped out before she could stop it. Iris came in right behind her. And froze too. What happened? Her voice shook, not loud, but already breaking. Hazel dropped to her knees beside Rose, too fast, her hands immediately reaching out, grabbing her shoulders, shaking her. "Mom! Mom, wake up!" Nothing, no reaction, no movement. Rose's head shifted slightly from the force. But that was it. Iris moved closer now, hesitant, her hands hovering before finally touching Rose's arm. Cold, too still. "Mom?" Softer this time, almost like she was afraid to say it again. Hazel shook her harder, panic building fast. "Mom, please, open your eyes." Her voice cracked, fully now, tears forming before she even realized it. Rose's lips parted slightly, but no words came out, no response. Just that same shallow, uneven attempt at breathing. Iris's breathing picked up, quick, short, her eyes darting between Rose's face, her chest, the floor, trying to make sense of something that didn't make sense. Hazel." Her voice shrank, tight. "I don't think she's okay." Hazel didn't respond, didn't look at her. She just kept shaking Rose, like if she didn't stop, something would change. Something had to. "Mom, please." Her voice broke again, louder this time, desperate. "Say something." But the only thing that answered was silence. Hazel's hands were still on Rose's shoulders, still shaking her, still waiting for something, anything, to change. "Mom, please." Her voice had dropped now, not loud anymore, just strained, like she was running out of something she couldn't replace. Iris shifted beside her, her knees pressing into the tile. Her eyes kept moving. Rose's face, her chest, her hands, searching for something that made sense, but nothing did. She's not answering." Iris whispered it, like saying it too loud would make it real. Hazel's grip tightened again. "No, she just needs a second." But even as she said it, her voice didn't sound sure, not anymore. Rose's breathing stayed uneven, shallow, too shallow. And that stillness, it didn't feel temporary. It felt wrong. Hazel's hands slowly stopped moving. Just for a moment, her eyes flickered. Thinking, trying to remember, and then it came back. A memory. Quick, sharp, clear. Her head turned slightly toward the hallway, toward the small table where the phone sat. Mum's voice, calm, firm. If anything ever happens, you call him, no matter what. Hazel swallowed, hard. Her chest tightened. We can't. The words slipped out quietly, almost like she was arguing with herself. Iris looked at her immediately. What do you mean we can't? Hazel shook her head. Fast. He's not supposed to. We don't call him unless. She stopped. Because this was it. This was exactly what their mom meant. Iris grabbed her arm. Tight. Hayes, look at her. Hazel looked back down. Really looked this time. At how still Rose was. At how nothing was changing. At how waiting wasn't working. Her throat tightened again. Okay. One word. Soft. But it carried everything. Iris didn't hesitate after that. Go, call him. Hazel nodded once, then pushed herself up quickly. Her legs almost gave out for a second. But she caught herself, turned, and ran. Hazel reached the table, grabbing the phone with both hands this time, holding it tighter than before. Like dropping it again wasn't an option, not now. Her fingers hovered over the screen, but they didn't move right away, because that name, it was still there, unchanged. Dad, her breathing hitched, just slightly. Behind her, Iris's voice echoed again, louder now. Hazel, she's not waking up. That snapped something. Her thumb pressed down. The call started. The ringing filled her ears. Loud, repetitive, stretching every second longer than it should. One ring, two, three. Pick up, please, pick up. Her voice trembled, barely held together. Then, click. Hello? Hazel froze, just for a fraction of a second, but long enough for everything she was holding back to rise all at once. Dad? The word came out fragile, thin, like it could break if she said it any louder. A pause. Then, Hazel? His voice changed instantly. Alert, focused, and that was all it took. Everything inside her broke loose. I don't know what's wrong. Mom just fell, and she's not getting up. And I tried to wake her, but she won't wake up, and I don't. Her words crashed into each other. Fast, messy, uncontrolled. She couldn't stop. Didn't try to. Tears blurred her vision completely now. Her grip tightened around the phone, like it was the only thing holding her steady. Dad, please. Her voice dropped again. Cracked. Please, just come. I don't know what to do. There was silence on the other end. Not empty. Heavy, like everything she said landed all at once. And for that moment, Hazel just stood there, waiting, holding her breath, like the answer mattered more than anything. Ray didn't respond right away, not because he didn't hear her, but because he heard too much at once. The words hit him fast, but they didn't settle immediately. They echoed, repeated. She's not getting up. His grip on the phone tightened slightly, not enough to show panic, just enough to hold control. Around him, everything kept moving. Voices, low conversations, a chair shifting somewhere behind him, but none of it stayed, none of it mattered, because in that moment, he wasn't there anymore. He was back, years ago, a different house, different silence, Rose standing across from him, hurt in her eyes, but refusing to show it fully. You never really trusted me. Her voice, steady, but heavy. He had said something back then, something sharp, something he couldn't take back, and she left, not loudly, not dramatically, just gone. And now, Hazel's voice pulled him back. Dad? Soft, waiting. Ray blinked. Once, slow, his jaw tightened. A weight settled in his chest. Heavy, familiar, unavoidable. I should have. The thought slipped in before he could stop it. Unfinished, but clear. Guilt, sharp, immediate, but it didn't stay there long, because something else pushed through, stronger, faster, urgent. He straightened slightly, his breathing shifted. Deeper now, controlled, focused. Hazel, listen to me. His voice changed, firm, grounded, no hesitation left in it. I need you to stay with her. Don't move her. Just stay right there, okay? He paused, just enough to make sure she heard him, but not long enough to lose momentum. I'm coming, no doubt. No delay, just certainty. Ray ended the call, but his hand didn't move right away. The phone stayed in his grip for a second longer, like his body needed that extra moment to catch up. Then, everything shifted. He turned fast. The chair behind him scraped sharply as he pushed it back without looking. A few heads turned, confused, watching, but he didn't acknowledge them, didn't explain, didn't slow down. He grabbed his keys from the table, already moving. One of the men nearby stepped forward slightly. Mr. Ray, we still need to finalize. Later. One word. Flat. Controlled. But final. The man stopped immediately. Ray was already heading toward the door. His steps were quick, precise, every movement direct. No wasted motion. He pushed the door open, harder than necessary, and stepped outside. The air hit him instantly. Cool, sharp, real. He stopped beside his car for half a second. Just one. His hand resting on the handle. His chest rising. Then, holding, like something inside him hadn't fully settled yet. No, the word came out under his breath. Quiet, but firm. Not denial. Not confusion. Just refusal. He pulled the door open. Got in. The engine started immediately. No delay. No second thought. His hands tightened around the wheel. And then, he drove. Fast. The car didn't slow down until it had to. Ray pulled up hard. Tires stopping just short of the curb. The engine was still running. But he was already out. Door left open. Keys still inside. None of it mattered. His eyes were locked on the house. Same house. Nothing had changed on the outside. But something about it felt different. Too quiet. Too still. Like the air itself knew something was wrong. He moved fast toward the door. Steps sharp. Controlled. But underneath that control, there was pressure building. He reached for the handle. Paused for half a second. Then pushed it open. Hazel. His voice carried through the house immediately. Firm. Loud. Not shouting. But close. Footsteps answered him. Quick. Uneven. Hazel appeared first. Eyes red. Breathing off. Face tense. Dad. The word came out fast. Relieved. But still shaking. Behind her, Iris hovered. Closer to the kitchen. Like she didn't want to leave Rose alone for even a second. Where is she? Ray didn't waste time. Didn't soften the question. Hazel pointed, her hand trembling slightly. In the kitchen, she fell, and she won't wake up. Ray was already moving before she finished. Each step felt heavier now, not slower. Just loaded. He entered the kitchen and stopped for a fraction of a second, because there she was, on the floor. Exactly how Hazel described. Still, too still. The broken mug still scattered around her. The faint rise of her chest, barely noticeable. His jaw tightened instantly. His shoulders stiffened, and something passed through his eyes. Quick, sharp, hard to read. Rose. Her name left his mouth low. Not loud, not soft. Just real. He stepped closer, dropped down beside her. One knee hitting the floor. His hand hovered for a second, just above her shoulder, like he wasn't sure if he should touch her. Then, he did. Ray's hand settled on her shoulder. Firm, steady. Rose, can you hear me? No response. Her head remained turned to the side, hair partially covering her face. Her breathing still uneven, still shallow. Ray shifted slightly, his other hand moving to gently turn her face toward him. Careful, controlled, not rushed, because now, every movement mattered. Rose, this time, a little more pressure behind it, not louder, just closer. For a second, nothing changed. Then, her eyelids fluttered, just barely, a weak reaction. But enough. Ray noticed immediately. Yeah, stay with me. His voice dropped, lower now, focused. Rose's eyes opened slightly. Not fully, just enough to let light in. Her vision wasn't clear. It couldn't be. Shapes first. Blurry, moving. Then, him, standing over her. Close. Too close. Her brows pulled together faintly. Confusion. Recognition. Something else underneath it. Harder to define. Her lips parted slightly. Dry. Weak. Ray. The name came out, broken. Soft. Like it cost her something to say it. Ray stilled, just for a moment. Not pulling away. But not moving closer either. I'm here. Simple. Direct. But steady. Rose blinked slowly. Trying to focus. Trying to understand why he was there. Why now? Her breathing shifted again. Slightly uneven. Her fingers twitched against the floor. A weak attempt to move. No. The word slipped out faintly. Barely there. But clear enough. Not fear. Not confusion. Something else. Resistance. Even like this. She felt it. Ray's expression tightened. Not anger. Not yet. But something close to it. Held back. Don't do that right now. His voice stayed controlled. But firmer. You need to stay awake. Rose's eyes struggled to stay open. Her body wasn't cooperating. Her strength fading again. But her gaze stayed on him. Even if it wasn't steady. Even if it wasn't clear. And in that moment, everything between them, years of distance, silence, unfinished words, sat right there, unspoken, but present. Rose's eyes struggled to stay open. But they didn't leave his face, even through the blur, even through the weakness. She knew who he was, and that recognition, it changed something. Her breathing shifted again, not stronger, just uneven in a different way. Her lips parted, like she wanted to say more, but her body didn't have the strength to carry it. Ray stayed where he was, one hand still steady on her shoulder, the other braced against the floor beside her, watching, waiting, trying to keep control over everything happening at once. But then, Rose's gaze hardened slightly, not fully, just enough. A flicker of something deeper than confusion. You. The word came out faint, barely formed, but it carried weight. Ray didn't respond immediately, didn't interrupt. He just held her gaze, letting her finish, or try to. Her brows pulled together again, weak, but deliberate. You didn't. Her voice broke, not from emotion alone, but from lack of strength. She swallowed slightly, forcing another breath. You don't get to. The sentence didn't finish. It couldn't. Her chest tightened again, her energy slipping, but the meaning, it was already there, clear enough. Ray's jaw tightened, just slightly. His eyes shifted for a moment, down to her hand, then back to her face. Not now. His voice came out low, controlled, but heavier than before. Like he was holding something back. Something that didn't belong in this moment. Rose's lips parted again. But no words followed this time. Only a weak exhale. Her head shifted slightly against the floor. Her strength fading again. Pulling her away from the moment she tried to hold onto. Ray leaned in just a little closer. Not soft. Not distant. Just enough. You can say whatever you want later. A pause. Short. But firm. But you're not leaving right now. Is she okay? Iris's voice cut through from behind them. sharper now, closer. Ray didn't turn immediately, but he heard it, felt it. Hazel stepped into the kitchen again, hovering just a few feet away. Her eyes moved between them. Her mum on the floor, her dad beside her, both in the same space again, something she hadn't seen in a long time. "Dad?" Her voice came out softer this time, not panicked like before, just unsure, like she didn't know how to place him in this moment. Ray glanced back briefly, just enough to acknowledge her. She's breathing. Simple, direct, but it didn't answer everything. Iris moved closer now, hesitant steps, her hands twisting together nervously. But why won't she wake up? No one answered right away, because no one had that answer yet. Hazel looked at Ray again, really looked at him this time, not just as the person who came when they called, but as him, the one who hadn't been there, the one who was here now. Her voice lowered. "You came." It wasn't a question, not fully, but it wasn't just a statement either. Something in between. Ray held her gaze for a second, then looked back at Rose. "I said I would." His tone stayed even, but something underneath it shifted. Iris stepped closer to Rose again, kneeling beside her, her hand gently touching Rose's arm, still scared to press too hard, still unsure what was safe. "She feels cold." The words slipped out quietly, more to herself than anyone else. Hazel's eyes flickered again, back to Ray, then back to Rose, then back again, like she didn't know where to stand, who to stand with. Her chest rose slowly, then fell. "Are you staying?" The question came out before she could stop it. Small, honest, heavy. Not because he didn't know, but because the question itself meant more than it should have. His hand remained steady on Rose's shoulder, his gaze fixed. "Yeah," one word, low, certain, and for the first time since he walked in. Hazel didn't look away. Ray didn't move his hand, still on her shoulder, still steady. But his eyes, they stayed on her face a little longer now, watching, not just for signs of consciousness, but something else, recognition, reaction. Rose's breathing shifted again, small change, but enough. Her eyelids fluttered, then opened just slightly, not clear, not focused, but present. Ray leaned in just a little more. "Stay with me." His voice stayed low, measured, but closer now. Rose's lips moved, slowly, like forming words took more effort than it should. "You said that before." The words came out weak, barely connected, but they landed. Ray stilled, just for a second, not pulling away, not reacting outwardly, but something in his expression tightened. Rose's eyes tried to focus on him again, struggling, but determined. "You always say that." Her voice faded at the end, not because she wanted it to, but because her body wouldn't let her hold it. Ray exhaled slowly through his nose, controlled, but heavier now. "That's not..." He stopped, mid-sentence, like the rest of the words didn't sit right anymore, didn't belong the way he thought they would. Rose's head shifted slightly, her gaze drifting, but still anchored to him. "You don't stay." That one came out clearer, still weak, but sharper, and just like that. The past wasn't in the background anymore. It was right there, between them. Ray's jaw tightened again. But this time, it stayed. He didn't look away, didn't step back. He held his position, because walking away, that wasn't an option anymore. "You left." Rose's voice came out softer now, not as strained, but still fragile. Not an accusation shouted, just something stated, like a fact she never stopped carrying. Ray's brows pulled slightly. "That's not how it..." He caught himself again, too late, because she was already shaking her head, weak, but certain. "You think I wanted to go?" Her voice trembled, not from lack of strength this time, but from something deeper, something she hadn't said out loud in a long time. Hazel and Iris stayed quiet behind them, listening, not fully understanding, but feeling it anyway. Ray's hand shifted slightly on her shoulder, not gripping, just reacting. You walked out. His voice came out firmer now, not raised, but edged, like he needed to hold on to that version of the past. Rose let out a shallow breath. Her eyes closed briefly, then opened again. You pushed me out. The words came slowly, carefully, like each one had weight. Ray's expression changed, subtle, but there, a flicker of something, uncertainty, or memory catching up. Rose swallowed slightly, her voice lowering again. I stayed longer than I should have. A pause. Her chest rose, then fell unevenly. Waiting for you to see me. That last part barely held together, but it didn't need to be louder, because the meaning, it hit exactly where it needed to. Ray didn't answer immediately, not this time, because for the first time, the version of events he held onto was starting to shift. Ray's eyes didn't leave her, but something behind them shifted, not outwardly, not in a way anyone else in the room would notice, but internally. Something cracked. You think I didn't see you? His voice came out low, controlled, but there was pressure in it now, like something he had held onto for too long was starting to push back. Rose didn't respond immediately. Her breathing stayed uneven, her strength still fading in and out, but her gaze, it stayed on him, even if it wasn't steady. Ray leaned back slightly, just enough to create space, but not enough to disconnect. I saw everything. His jaw tightened again, harder this time. The late nights, the stress, the way you kept everything together. He paused, short, like the next part didn't come as easily. But I also saw things that didn't make sense. There it was. The part he never said properly, the part that stayed underneath everything. Rose's brows pulled together faintly. Confusion, mixing with something else. Ray exhaled slowly. Not calm, just controlled. I didn't know who was around you when I wasn't there. His eyes flickered for a second. Just a second. Like he didn't want to say the next part. But he did. And I didn't trust it. Silence followed. Heavy, not loud, but it filled the space between them completely. Rose stared at him, not fully processing, or maybe processing too much at once. Ray's voice dropped again, lower. I didn't trust you. The words didn't come out sharp. They came out real, and that made them worse. Because now, they weren't buried anymore. They were right there, between them, and for the first time. Ray didn't defend it, didn't justify it. He just let it sit. Rose didn't respond right away. Her eyes stayed on him. But something in them shifted. Not anger, not exactly. Something deeper, something tired. Her lips parted, but no sound came out at first. Just breath, uneven, trying to catch up. You never asked. The words came slowly, breaking between each one, like her body couldn't carry them all at once. Ray didn't interrupt, didn't move. Rose swallowed, her throat tightening slightly. You just decided. Her voice trembled now, not loud, but it carried everything she never said. Hazel shifted behind them, uncomfortable, not understanding all of it, but feeling enough to know this wasn't simple. Ray's hand slowly pulled back from Rose's shoulder, not fully away, just less certain. I thought. He stopped. The words didn't land, didn't hold. His head lowered slightly. I thought I was protecting what we had. It came out quieter, less controlled, like he didn't fully believe it anymore. Rose let out a weak breath, almost a small, tired laugh, but without any humor. You were protecting yourself. That one landed clean, even in her state, even with her voice barely holding. Ray didn't respond, because there wasn't a quick answer to that, not one that would fix anything. Rose's eyes began to close again, slow, her energy slipping once more, but before she faded fully, she forced one last sentence out. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. A pause. Her breathing faltered, then steadied just enough. I left because you stopped seeing me. And just like that, the room went quiet again. Not empty, not peaceful, just heavy. Rose's eyes finally closed. Not suddenly, not sharply, just slowly, like her body had nothing left to hold on to. Her breathing stayed there. Shallow, uneven, but present. Ray didn't move right away. His gaze stayed on her face, watching for any sign she'd open her eyes again. But she didn't. Behind him, Hazel shifted. Is she? She couldn't finish it. Didn't need to. Ray answered anyway. She's still breathing. His voice stayed low, steady, but this time, it carried something else. Finality. He looked down at Rose again. Then, he made a decision. Clear, immediate. I'm not leaving. The words came out firm, not loud, but absolute. Hazel blinked, like she needed a second to process that. What? Ray didn't look back at her. Not yet. I'm staying. No hesitation, no explanation attached. Just truth. Iris looked between them, then back at Rose. But, what about your work? The question came out unsure, like she already knew the answer wouldn't match what she expected. Ray finally glanced back at them. His expression didn't soften, but it shifted, slightly. This is more important. Simple, direct, nothing extra. Hazel's shoulders dropped just a little, not relief fully, but something close to it. Ray turned his attention back to Rose. His hand moved again, this time adjusting slightly under her shoulder, supporting her, not just checking anymore, staying. Hazel. Ray's voice shifted again, still calm, but more directed now. I need a pillow. Something to support her head. Hazel nodded immediately. Okay. Yeah, I'll... She turned too fast, almost slipping again, but caught herself before running out of the kitchen. Iris stayed close, watching, not moving far from Rose. Ray carefully adjusted Rose's position. Slow, deliberate, one hand steady behind her shoulders, the other guiding her gently. Easy. The word came out under his breath, more instinct than instruction. Hazel came back quickly, pillow in hand. I found one. Ray nodded once. Good. He took it, lifting Rose's head slightly, placing it beneath her carefully, making sure her neck was supported. Her breathing shifted again, still uneven, but slightly more stable. Iris leaned closer, her voice quieter now. Is she in pain? Ray glanced at her, briefly, then back at Rose. I don't know yet. Honest, no reassurance he couldn't give. Hazel hovered near the counter, not sure what to do next. Her hands restless. Should we call someone? Like, an ambulance? Ray paused, just for a second, thinking, then, yeah. He reached for his phone again, already dialing, but his eyes never fully left Rose, not even while the call connected. We're going to take care of her. He said it quietly, not into the phone, not to the girls directly, just into the moment itself. And for the first time since everything started, there was structure, action, something holding the situation together. The call ended. Ray lowered the phone slowly, placing it on the counter within reach. They're on the way. His voice stayed even, but the urgency beneath it didn't leave. Hazel nodded, more to herself than to him. Okay. Okay. She repeated it quietly, like saying it would make everything settle. Iris shifted closer again, her hand still resting lightly on Rose's arm, not pressing, just there. Ray adjusted his position slightly, sitting more fully on the floor now, closer, more grounded. His sleeve brushed against Rose's hand, and for a second, he paused. Just a second. His fingers hovered, then gently moved a strand of hair away from her face. Careful, almost instinctive. Hazel noticed. Her eyes flickered between them. That small gesture, it didn't match the distance she remembered. You used to do that. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Ray didn't respond immediately. His hand stilled near Rose's temple, then lowered slowly. I remember. It came out quieter than expected. Not defensive, not distant, just real. Iris looked up at him, confused. But you stopped coming. The statement landed without blame, but it still carried weight. Ray's expression tightened slightly. Not anger, not fully regret. Just something in between. I know. Short, direct, no explanation added. Hazel looked away first, her gaze dropping to the floor. The tension lingered. But it didn't spike. It settled, shifted, into something quieter, less sharp. Ray glanced back at Rose again, his hand returning to rest near hers. Not touching fully, but close enough. The room stayed quiet. But it wasn't the same kind of quiet as before. It wasn't filled with panic anymore. It held something else, something slower, more aware. Rose's breathing shifted again. Slightly deeper this time, still uneven, but stronger than before. Ray noticed immediately. His focus sharpened. Rose. He leaned in just a little, not touching her face, just watching. Her eyelids moved faintly, not fully opening, but reacting. Hazel stepped closer again. She's doing something. Ray raised his hand slightly, not to stop her, just to steady the moment. Give her a second. His voice stayed calm, grounded. Rose's fingers moved slightly, barely noticeable. A small reaction, but real. Ray's shoulders lowered just a fraction. Tension easing. Just enough. Good. The word came out under his breath. Soft, not meant to be heard. But it was. Iris looked at him again. This time, differently. Less unsure, more settled. Hazel exhaled slowly, her posture loosening, not relaxed, but no longer frozen. Ray's hand shifted again, this time resting gently over Rose's fingers. Light, careful, no pressure, just contact. And this time, he didn't pull away. Stay with me. The words came out low, steady, not forced, not distant, something closer, something real. And, for the first time, it didn't feel like a command. It felt like a request. The sirens came and went, fast, efficient. Voices filled the space for a while. Instructions, questions, movement. Then, slowly, they faded. Rose was settled onto the couch now, blanket pulled over her. A medic kneeling nearby just moments ago. Now gone. She needs rest. Monitor her. If anything changes, call again. That was the last thing they said. And then, the door closed. Silence returned, but not the same silence as before. This one felt heavier, full. Hazel and Iris had been guided to their room, not forced, just gently encouraged. They didn't want to leave, but they did, because Ray told them he would stay. And now, it was just the two of them. Rose shifted slightly against the cushion, a small movement, but enough to show she was aware. Ray sat on the edge of the couch, not too close, not distant, just there, watching, waiting. The room stayed still for a while, no one speaking, just the sound of her breathing. And his, "You didn't have to stay." Rose's voice broke the silence. Soft, weak, but clear. Ray didn't answer immediately. He looked at her. Really looked this time. Not checking, not analyzing, just seeing her. I know. Simple, no defense, no explanation. Rose's eyes stayed on the ceiling for a second, then shifted slightly toward him. But you did. Ray leaned back just slightly, his hands resting together now. Yeah, that was all. But something about the way he said it made the air shift. Subtle, but real. Rose swallowed slowly, her fingers gripping the blanket just a little tighter. Why? The question came out before she could stop it. Not sharp, not accusing, just honest. Ray didn't look away, but he didn't answer right away either, because this wasn't the kind of question you rush. And in that pause, something changed. The quiet. It didn't feel safe anymore. It felt exposed. Ray exhaled slowly. Not heavy, just deliberate, like he was choosing what came next carefully. I didn't stay before. His voice came out low, steady, but not guarded anymore. Rose's eyes flickered toward him. Fully now. No blur this time. No confusion. Just attention. Ray's gaze dropped briefly to his hands, then back to her. I told myself I had reasons. A small pause, his jaw tightening slightly. Work, pressure, everything I thought mattered. He shook his head once. Subtle. None of it did. The words landed differently. Not like an excuse, more like something he had finally accepted. Rose didn't respond right away. Her breathing slowed slightly. Her body still weak, but her mind present. You left us to deal with everything alone. Her voice came out steadier than before, still soft, but stronger. Ray didn't interrupt, didn't correct. I know, he said it quietly, but this time it carried weight, real weight, not just acknowledgement. Rose's gaze dropped for a moment, then lifted again. It wasn't just hard. She stopped, her throat tightening slightly. It was lonely. That word stayed there. Between them, Ray didn't look away, didn't shift, but something in his expression softened, not visibly to anyone else, but enough. I didn't think you needed me. The sentence came out slower, less certain, like he was hearing it as he said it. Rose let out a faint breath, not a laugh, not quite. I needed you to try, and just like that, whatever distance was left between them started to crack. The room stayed still after that, not empty, just full of everything neither of them had said for too long. Ray leaned forward slightly, forearms resting on his knees. Closer now, not by much, but enough to change the space between them. I thought if I questioned things, I was protecting us. His voice was quieter than before, less certain. I didn't realize I was tearing it apart. Rose watched him, not interrupting, not reacting immediately, just listening. Ray's gaze dropped again, this time lingering. I kept waiting for proof that nothing was wrong. A pause, short but heavy. And in the process, I made everything wrong. The admission settled into the room, not sharp, but deep. Rose's fingers shifted slightly under the blanket, her grip loosening, her breathing steady now. Not perfect, but no longer fragile. You made me feel like I had to prove myself every day. Her voice held together, but just barely, like what I was doing wasn't enough. Ray's head lifted again, slow, his eyes finding hers, and staying there. It was more than enough. He said it without hesitation, no delay. Rose shook her head faintly. You didn't say that then. The words came softer, not accusing, just true. Ray inhaled slowly, held it for a second, then released it. I was afraid. The sentence came out before he could shape it differently, not polished, not guarded, just honest. Rose's expression shifted, subtle, but real. Of what? Ray didn't answer immediately, because the answer, it didn't sit easily. Losing control. He said it low, almost like he didn't want to hear it out loud himself. Of things I couldn't manage, couldn't predict. He shook his head again, but instead, I lost you. And for the first time, there was no defense left in him. Rose didn't speak right away. Her eyes stayed on him. Steady now, present, not drifting, not fading, just there, taking him in, for what he was saying, for what he wasn't. The silence stretched, but it didn't feel uncomfortable. It felt necessary, like both of them were finally standing in the same place again, without distance, without defense. Rose shifted slightly on the couch. A small movement, but enough to bring her a little closer to him. Not fully, just less far. Ray noticed, but he didn't react to it directly. He just stayed where he was, letting it happen. I didn't stop loving you either. The words came out quietly, not dramatic, not heavy, but they carried everything. Ray's eyes softened, just slightly, enough to show it reached him. Rose's fingers moved again, this time resting against the edge of the blanket. I just got tired of feeling invisible. A pause. Her breathing stayed steady. And I didn't know how to fix that alone. Ray didn't move right away, didn't speak, because there wasn't a quick answer to that. There never had been. Slowly, carefully, his hand shifted forward, resting lightly over hers, not gripping, not pulling, just there. A choice, this time, intentional. Rose didn't pull away, didn't tense. Her fingers stayed still under his, accepting it. We don't fix it alone. Ray's voice came out low, steady, not forced, just different now. And in that moment, nothing dramatic happened. No sudden change, no perfect resolution. Just two people. Finally, not pushing each other away. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. The moment didn't last as long as it should have, not because it wasn't real, but because something else forced its way in. Ray's phone buzzed. Once, sharp, against the counter. Neither of them moved at first. Rose's hand was still under his fingers still resting lightly over hers. The sound came again, longer this time, insistent. Ray's jaw tightened slightly, not frustration, just recognition. He knew that tone. He knew what it meant. Rose's eyes shifted toward the counter, then back to him. You should get that. Her voice was calm, too calm. Ray didn't move, not immediately. The phone buzzed again, louder in the quiet room. I can ignore it. He said it simply, like it was an option he was actually considering. Rose held his gaze. For a second, then, you never ignore it. The words came out soft, but they carried history. Ray's hand slowly pulled back from hers, not abruptly, not cold, just necessary. He stood, crossed the room, picked up the phone. The screen lit up his face, multiple notifications, missed calls, messages stacking one after another. He exhaled quietly. Of course. The words slipped out under his breath. Not surprised, just expected. He answered, yeah. His tone changed instantly, still calm, but sharper, focused, listening. A voice on the other end spoke fast. Too fast to catch fully. But the urgency was clear. Ray's posture shifted slightly, back straight, attention locked. I said, I'll handle it. A pause. His jaw tightened again. No, not tomorrow. He stopped, mid-sentence. His eyes flickered briefly toward Rose, still on the couch, still watching him. I'll call you back. He ended the call. Didn't wait for a response, but the silence that followed, it wasn't the same as before. The phone didn't stay quiet, not for long. It rang again, almost immediately. Ray stared at the screen this time. Didn't pick it up right away. Rose watched him, not questioning, not pushing, just observing. Are you going to answer? Her voice came softer now, not distant, just aware. Ray hesitated, just for a second, then answered, yes, short, direct, no greeting. The voice on the other end wasn't rushed this time. It was controlled, measured, but firm. Ray's expression shifted as he listened, not surprise, not confusion, just tension building. I told you, I'm not there. He said it calmly, but the edge was there now. A pause, longer this time. His eyes narrowed slightly. No, I understand what's at stake. Another pause. Then, his jaw set. I said, I'm handling something personal. That word hung differently. personal, like it didn't belong in his usual world. The voice on the other end pushed again, stronger, more direct. Ray's shoulders stiffened. I'm aware of the timeline. His tone sharpened slightly. But this doesn't wait. Silence. Then, he pulled the phone slightly away from his ear. Just enough to breathe. Once. Controlled, then back again. You'll manage. He ended the call again. This time, slower, deliberate. He didn't move immediately after, just stood there, phone still in his hand, like the weight of both worlds was sitting right there, waiting. Ray set the phone down, carefully, like if he moved too fast, something else would fall apart with it. For a moment, he didn't turn back around. He just stood there, facing away, shoulders tight, breathing controlled. Behind him, the room stayed quiet. Rose watched him, not confused, not surprised, just aware. She had seen that version of him before. The one pulled in two directions. The one who never stayed still for long. Her fingers tightened slightly around the blanket. You should go. The words came out softer than expected. Not sharp, not bitter, just familiar. Ray didn't move, didn't respond right away. Rose shifted slightly on the couch. A small effort that cost more than it showed. I'll be okay. She added it quickly, too quickly, like she needed to make it easier for him. Hazel and Iris weren't in the room, but their presence still lingered. Their voices earlier, their fear, all of it still there. Rose's gaze dropped briefly, then lifted again. This is your life. The sentence carried weight, not accusation, not regret. Just truth she had already accepted once before. Ray turned slowly, not fast, not reactive, just deliberate. His eyes met hers again, and this time, there was something sharper in them, not anger, but resistance. Rose exhaled quietly. I don't want to be the reason you fall behind again. That one came out lower, more honest, more exposed. She wasn't pushing him away, she was stepping back. Before he had to, Ray didn't answer immediately. He just looked at her, really looked, not past her, not through her, at her, the way he should have before. His jaw tightened slightly, then released. You think this is about falling behind? His voice came out low, not raised, but firm. Rose didn't respond, because part of her already knew. This wasn't simple. Ray took a step closer, then another, closing the space between them again. Everything I've been chasing. He paused, just for a second, like the words needed to land right this time. None of it matters if I'm not here when it counts. Rose's eyes shifted slightly, not fully convinced, but listening. Ray stopped beside the couch, not sitting, just standing close enough for her to feel it. I missed too much already. His voice softened, not weak, just honest. I'm not doing that again. Rose's fingers loosened around the blanket, just slightly. But what if? She stopped, her breath catching briefly. What if this pulls you back into the same place? Ray shook his head once, clear, immediate. Then, I don't go back. The answer came without hesitation, no pause, no second thought. Rose held his gaze, searching, testing, trying to find something uncertain in it. But there wasn't. Ray leaned down slightly, not touching her, just close enough to make the moment real. I'm choosing this. A pause, short, but deliberate. You, them, this, each word placed carefully, like it mattered that she heard it exactly as it was. And for the first time, there wasn't a gap between what he said and what he meant. The phone rang again, this time, louder, more persistent, like it refused to be ignored. Ray didn't even look at it at first. His attention stayed on Rose, on the space between them that had finally closed. But the sound kept coming, demanding, insistent. Rose's eyes flickered toward the counter, then back to him. You should answer it. Her voice was softer now, not pushing him away, just acknowledging reality. Ray exhaled once, then reached for the phone. He picked it up. glanced at the screen, then answered, "Yeah." No greeting, no shift in tone. Just direct. The voice on the other end came fast, sharp, focused on timelines, decisions, expectations. Ray listened, silent, for a few seconds. Then, no. The word landed clean, firm, unmoved. A pause on the other end, longer this time. Then more pressure, more insistence. Ray's gaze didn't leave Rose, not once. "I said no." Still calm, but final now. Another voice joined, faint but audible, layered over the call. "Family, business, both at once. You're making a mistake." Ray's jaw tightened slightly. "Maybe." A pause, then, "But not this time." The words came out steady, clear, without hesitation. Silence followed, heavy. Then the call ended, not by him. He lowered the phone slowly, placing it back down, and just like that, the decision wasn't private anymore. It was real. It was chosen. The room stayed quiet after that. Not tense, not heavy like before, just settled. Rose looked at him. Really looked this time, not searching for doubt, not waiting for him to change his mind, just seeing him. "You meant that?" It wasn't a question. Ray nodded once. "I did." No hesitation, no second thought. Rose studied his face for a moment longer, like she was trying to match this version of him with the one she remembered, the one who left, the one who didn't stay. "You would have said something else before." Her voice came out softer, less guarded. Ray didn't deny it. "Yeah." A small pause. "I would have." Rose exhaled slowly, her shoulders lowering just a little more. The tension she carried, not gone, but easing. "Why now?" The question came again, but this time, it didn't carry doubt, just curiosity. Ray stepped closer, then sat beside her, not leaving space this time, not holding distance, "Because I finally understand what I almost lost." His voice stayed low, but it held weight, real weight. Rose's gaze dropped briefly, then returned to him. "You did lose it." The words came gently, not sharp, just honest. Ray nodded. "I know." A pause, then, "I'm trying to find my way back." And this time, there was no argument left between them, only truth. Rose didn't speak right away. Her eyes stayed on him. Steady now, no tension pulling them away, no hesitation clouding the moment. Just presence, real, unfiltered. She shifted slightly on the couch. A small movement, but this time, it wasn't from weakness. It was a choice. Her hand moved slowly, resting closer to his, not touching yet, just close enough. "I don't know how to do this again." Her voice came out quiet, not fragile, just honest. Ray didn't interrupt, didn't rush to answer. He let the words sit, let them mean what they needed to. Rose swallowed slightly, her gaze dropping for a second, then lifting again. "I don't want to feel that way again." The words carried more weight now, not fear alone, but memory. Ray's hand shifted gently, closing the small gap between them, his fingers resting over hers again. This time, not careful, not uncertain, just there. "You won't do it alone." He said it low, steady, not promising perfection, just presence. Rose's fingers didn't pull away, didn't tense. They stayed, relaxed, for the first time, not bracing for something to break. Her shoulders lowered slowly, a breath leaving her chest, longer this time. "Okay," one word, soft, but it changed everything. Not because it fixed the past, but because it opened something new. And this time, she didn't close it off. Morning came quietly, soft light filtering through the window, touching the edges of the room. Rose was still resting, but her breathing had settled, steady now, stronger. Ray hadn't moved far, still there, still present. Hazel and Iris stepped into the living room slowly, careful, watching. "Mom?" Hazel's voice came out gentle, hopeful. Rose's eyes opened. Not fully, but enough. I'm here. Her voice was still soft, but clearer now. Iris let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding, moving closer immediately. You scared us. She said it quietly, like she didn't want to overwhelm her. Rose's hand lifted slightly, resting over Iris's. I know. Ray watched them. Silent, but not distant. Present in a way he hadn't been before. Hazel looked at him, then back at Rose, then back again. He stayed. She said it like it mattered, because it did. Rose's eyes shifted toward Ray, meeting his, holding it. A small moment. But enough. Yeah, that was all she said. But it carried everything. Ray didn't speak, didn't need to, because this time, he wasn't leaving. And maybe things weren't perfect. Maybe there were still questions, still things to rebuild. But they weren't facing it alone anymore. And sometimes, that's where everything begins. Now, before you go, if this story touched you even a little, take a second, like the video. It really helps more than you think. And, in the comments, tell me this: would you have called him? Or, let pride win? And, if you believe people can change, that love can come back stronger when it's real. Subscribe to Mr. Leo Stories, because stories like this, they're not just stories, they're reminders that love can come back stronger when it's real. Subscribe to Mr. Leo Stories, because stories like this, they're not just stories, they're reminders